on Melissa Hortman's home, representative that lives in our community, just proactively as due diligence to swing by. That police officer and his partner pulled down the street when they arrived at Melissa's house. They noticed that there was a police vehicle in the driveway with the lights, emergency lights on, and what appeared to be a police officer at the door coming out of the house. When our officers confronted him, the individual immediately fired upon the officers, who exchanged gunfire, and the suspect retreated back into the home.
Was this an actual police officer or impersonating police officer?
Yes, the question is, was it a real person or a person impersonating a police officer? It was not a real police officer. This is somebody that clearly had been impersonating a police officer, again, using the trust of this badge and this uniform to manipulate their way into the home.
So Chief Burley, Jenna Shortle, Pair 11, the person not only was wearing a badge posing as a police officer, when they approached their victims, they had a car with lights and sirens?
Yes, the question is what kind of vehicle, how were they dressed? They did drive a vehicle that looked exactly like an SUV squad car. It was equipped with lights, emergency lights that looked exactly like a police vehicle. And yes, they were wearing a vest with taser, other equipment that would, a badge very similar to mine, that no question, if they were in this room, you would assume that they are a police officer.
Chief Burley, can you describe the moments after that played out? You said the person went into the home, and then can you help us understand the next 10, 15 minutes of how we got to the point we're at now?
Yeah, briefly, although I'm just going to remind us that this is an absolutely active investigation. We have thousands of people sheltered in place in the city of Brooklyn Park right now. We are in an extensive manhunt involving hundreds and hundreds of police officers and SWAT teams searching, gridding off areas, as we believe confidently the suspect had fled out the back of the house after being confronted by the police. Very briefly, after the officers had exchanged gunfire and the suspect retreated into Melissa's home, they immediately went up to the threshold and looked in and seen a male that was down, clearly had been struck by gunfire. They made a limited penetration, grabbed a hold of the male and drug him out to safety to attempt first aid. However, he was pronounced dead shortly after that. At that point, the officers surrounded the house, got additional resources and SWAT resources, and then ultimately went in with a drone identifying a female in the home.
How far apart are the two scenes? About 8 miles?
I would say, yeah, somewhere around 5 or 6 miles apart.
How much do you know about if the person that was impersonating an officer who allegedly shot these people, did they knock on the door and people came to the door, or did the person break into the home?
Yeah, it was knocking on the door and asking the person to come out, absolutely impersonating a police officer.
Do you all have a suspect's car?
We do have the suspect's car. Suspect is on foot. That is what the large-scale search is currently going on. I just remind residents of Brooklyn Park, I know it's been a long time, but those that are in the grid that we gave the alert out to continue to shelter in place. We're also reminding them that if somebody comes to the door and they knock on the door and claiming to be a police officer, please do a couple of things. One, call 911 and confirm that the officer belongs there. If they are a police officer, dispatch will be able to confirm that that person is a police officer. Also, we've informed all our officers in Brooklyn Park that they are not to approach anybody by themselves. They're to approach in pairs, meaning 2 officers. So if there's only 1 officer outside the door, do not answer the door and call 911. If it's a Brooklyn Park police officer or any of our partners that are assisting, they will come in pairs of 2 or more. I'm sorry, one at a time.
Do you know if the government said anything, like when you knocked on the door, did he say anything to like Senator Hoffman or anything?
We do know that he did, but I'm going to hold that back as part of the investigation right now.
You guys did detain someone for information? Is that accurate?
This is a very large-scale search, so we have detained several people and questioned them, but we do not have anybody in custody at this time.
I know you may not want to identify that person publicly, but have you privately identified the suspect?
We have people of interest that we are looking for.
Other than that, these are 2 Democratic lawmakers. Is there anything else to suggest that this is politically motivated?
Again, I'm going to hold back most of the information just as part of the investigation to be completed. This is rapidly evolving, just occurred a few hours ago, and we're trying to sort it out. We have partners from the FBI, the BCA, the Henry County Sheriff's Office, and almost every suburban agency in our community helping us with this. So it's very complex and working on it. What I will tell you, when we did a search of the vehicle, there wasn't a manifesto that identified many lawmakers and other officials. We immediately made alerts to the state who took action on alerting them and providing security security where necessary, and that's about, I'll stop there.
Chief, thank you very much. We're going to take one more question.
Through with the VCA, can I have just, you use the word targeted, and that's kind of along the lines of Michelle's question in terms of politics, Democrats, and Republicans. These are both Democratic lawmakers. You said the word targeted, so targeted because they're politicians or targeted because they're Democratic politicians?
So the question is were they targeted, and when I use the term, why am I using the term? As Chief Bruley noted, there was a list of individuals, and the individuals that were targeted in this situation were on that list. And so when we're looking at that, as Chief Bruley said, it's far too early in the investigation to be able to provide information, but I do think we'll be in a position where we'll be able to develop the motivation behind these attacks, and we'll be able to provide more information as this unfolds. And so that's part of the reason we're using it, is I think there's some preliminary information that is telling us kind of where this is headed, but we need a lot more work done by all the teams that are here working on that to be able to provide that with you with a degree of accuracy.
Thank you. Thanks. Thank you.
Quite a few.
Yeah, we're good. Thank you. Yep, hold on. Colonel, do you want to talk about the rally at the Capitol?
Good morning, Colonel Bogoyevich with the State Patrol. We are aware of the demonstrations across Minnesota, including the Capitol and across the nation. We will work with our state partners and our local partners to provide security and safety for those that attend.
Christy Miller, Pioneer Press, can you confirm that you will have a sniper station at the Capitol today?
The question was, will we have a sniper at the Capitol? We don't discuss our security plans on the Capitol grounds.
Colonel, thank you. Okay, thank you very much, everybody, for being here. We will, I think you do have, and if you haven't, let me know, but we do have a place where you can send inquiries for either interview requests, information requests. We have our State Emergency Operations Center set up. If you need information on how to make those requests and make sure that we see them, let me know.